Hello friends, looking at current affairs for 15th June. The news items picked up from the Hindu newspaper are these 13. We'll look at them in detail. The first one, put off GST rollout to September 1. Aviation Ministry tells Finance Ministry. So now the Ministry of Civil Aviation has made a request to Finance Ministry that GST rollout should be postponed. It is scheduled to be effective from 1st July 2017. So it's asking it to be postponed to 1st September. So actually, the reason for this being that domestic airlines, many of them use this global distribution system software, GDS software, for booking tickets. And this software has to be aligned with the requirements of GST, and that has not been done yet. So this will take some time. The airlines are demanding 8 to 9 months. That way it will take to switch to the new GST regime, but the Aviation Ministry says at least postpone it by 3 months. So what purpose would it serve is another matter. So this is one demand coming forth. And another point raised by Ministry of Civil Aviation is the discrimination which is there in the GST regime, which will benefit international travel more than domestic airlines, and also differentiation between economy class and premium class travel. So what is these 2 points raised? We'll see that too. So on economy class travel, actually input tax credit which is provided is less as compared to premium class travel. So first understand what is input tax credit. So GST, as we know, is a value added tax. So it is only going to tax on value addition. Means through the chain when some changes are being made. Means for example, in case of airlines too, you will need input goods and input services. So there will be procurement of goods done by the airlines. There will be import of aircraft done maybe. So all these spares which are provided. So all these have already gone through taxation. So they should not be taxed further. So that is why this input tax credit is provided. So that is the provision there in the GST regime, how it all works. That is why the entire GST network is required and all details have to be put in. So that credit which is due is provided for. So this input tax credit in economy class travel is provided only for input services, as it's mentioned, see. And it is not for procurement of goods, import of aircrafts and its spares. But in case of premium travel, full input tax credit is there. This will be provided under GST. So it can be reclaimed on both input goods and services. So this is one point raised, this discrimination in input tax credit. And on international travel, the point which is raised is that direct international flights, the way GST is imposed on them is different from how it is done for connecting flights. So for connecting flights, it becomes more taxation. So that is why this also has to be treated on par. So these are the 2 points being raised by the Ministry of Civil Aviation to the Finance Ministry for changes in the GST. So we'll see what decision comes forth, whether the delay is done or whether these 2 changes, input tax credit extended to economy class and this treating international flights on par with connecting flights, if these decisions are finally accepted by the Finance Ministry or not, we'll have to wait and watch. Then next is Cabinet clears 5% interest subvention for crop loans. So as we are seeing farmers' protests going on across the states, various states in the country, now the central government has also come up with this interest subvention scheme for crop loans for 2017-18. So the scheme is already in place. It has been extended for 2017-18 year too. And this interest subvention is at the rate of 5% per annum. What does interest subvention means? The interest rate which farmers pay for crop loans. So this interest rate has been reduced. Means the 9% interest rate at which farmers pay. So 5% subvention is provided. Means they'll have to pay effectively only 4% interest. So this is what it basically means. So this 4% interest rate will be there for all farmers who have taken short-term crop loans and are prompt paying. Means they have been repaying the installments as such in time. So for all those prompt payee farmers, this interest subvention will be provided. So this is for short-term crop loans only, which is taken for up to 1 year. And the loan should be up to rupees 3 lakh. So this and borrowed during the financial year 2017-18. So for them, this interest subvention scheme will be effective. Then farmers who are unable to pay short-term crop loans on time, they will also get an interest subvention, but only of 2%, not 5%. And also, this scheme has been running. This is there for since 2006-7, and farmers are eligible for this interest subvention of 2% under it, for crop loans up to 3 lakh. But now it has been increased to 5% per annum. And this scheme will be implemented by NABARD and RBI. So this is there, and the gist of it is provided up here too. So 2% interest subvention, it comes out to 5%, means 2% is there for all, 3% for those who repay on time. That is there. And for post-harvest also, interest subvention of 2% is provided. So this is for post-harvest storage. So this is for crops and this is for post-harvest storage too. This is for loans up to 6 months. If a short-term, very short-term loan is taken, for them also subvention is provided. And for natural calamities also, a 2% subvention has been provided by the government for this financial year. Then the next news item is move to acquire more land for naval project kicks up storm in Andhra Pradesh. So Andhra Pradesh, here a third phase of land acquisition is taking place for now. This is Naval Alternate Operational Base. So this is coming up in Visakhapatnam in Andhra Pradesh, and already land had been acquired by the government for this, and people are protesting because the government has failed to provide jobs after acquiring around 4,600 acres of land in Visakhapatnam district. And now another round of land acquisition will take place. Third phase is creating jitters in the population here. So this land acquisition, this Naval Alternate Operational Base is coming up for India's indigenously built nuclear capable submarine. This is Arihant. So Arihant submarine, which has been developed, this will be docked here. So this is the purpose of this Naval Alternate Operational Base. So here the details of Arihant are also provided. So it was started, the project was sanctioned in 1970s. Finally, the project was revealed in around 2009 as Arihant, and the reactor on board also went critical in 2013 when it starts producing nuclear energy, which is going to power the submarine. So this submarine is now being undergoing testing and is ready for commissioning now. So this is the Naval Alternate Operational Base where it would be made provision for. Then next is ray of hope for Thar's endangered wildlife. So this is regarding Thar Desert in Rajasthan. Here, to reduce the mortality of endangered wildlife, especially the chinkaras, which is the Indian gazelle, this shy animal which lives in small groups here. So this chinkara Indian gazelle, an endangered species, needs protection. They are suffering because of road accidents, dog bites and fights. So these Bishnoi community here, they risk their lives to save these gazelles from poachers and transport these injured animals to Jodhpur. And there has been a long-standing demand from them to the forest department that rescue wards should be established. So now this rescue wards will be established. The forest department has planned to set up 17 such rescue wards. So this is an important step taken, and especially you should know about Bishnoi community which lives in western Rajasthan. It is in the forefront of wildlife conservation here. Both flora and fauna are protected by them. So you should know about Bishnois. So this is a Vaishnavite sect which lives in western Rajasthan on the fringes of Thar Desert, and it is known for centuries for conserving the flora and fauna to the extent of sacrificing their lives. So this is a religion whose basic philosophy is that all living things have a right to survive and we should share all resources with them. So this is there. This sect was as such founded in the 15th century by this holy man called Swami Jambeshwar Maharaj. And he has laid down 29 tenets for his followers, which include ban on killing animals, ban to felling of trees, especially the khejri tree which is grown extensively in this region, and even for cremation, material other than wood should be used, is provided for. Then the next news item is time is money, ISRO to pay official clock keeper. So this official clock keeper is NPL, National Physical Laboratory, which is part of CISR, Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, and this has been providing precision time. This is where the time is maintained, the primary time scale through which it maintains an accuracy of plus minus 20 nanoseconds. So it has an ensemble of 5 cesium clocks and 1 hydrogen maser through which it provides this primary time scale, and the rest of the world connects to these via teleclock, satellite links, and even example the laptop gives you the time as such. So this is also maintained, the local time is maintained through network time protocol services. So this is all provided for link through NPL. So now NPL has decided that it will provide this accurate time at a cost, because ISRO specifically, it needs precision time. So because it needs time to the nanoseconds. We may need up to the second accuracy is fine for us, but ISRO launches rockets and tracks satellites. So this precision at the nanosecond level which it demands, it has been provided by NPL for free from till now, but now it is going to start charging. So this has been the decision taken by National Physical Laboratory, because we have been seeing in news that CSIR is also suffering a cash crunch. So now CSIR has asked all its laboratories to increase the funds as such. So this presently the amount of money which has been provided to it, the budget is 4,000 crores. And out of this, only 10% to 15% is revenue coming from its laboratory. So it wants, CSIR has said that we want to increase our revenue to 25% this year and also up to 50% by 2020. And that's why the labs have been directed to generate more revenue, and this is the decision taken by NPL. It is also discussing similar deals to charge even Indian Air Force, State Bank of India, Indian Railways, even National Informatics Center. So this is the decision which has been taken now. So even earlier, another thing is that even for internet as such too, that the local times which are maintained, they have to be synchronized as such through Indian organization. So NPL has also asked government to mandate that Indian organizations exclusively should set their time to NPL's clocks. So this is also a suggestion made to government. If it becomes mandatory, then again people will have to use time from NPL. So this is there. And this is regarding the network time protocol, which is used in the internet. So time servers are arranged in levels of strata, and this is the reliable service provided to, as such, to align the time, local time on the internet. Then next is GST storm brews in service sector. So now there are around 15 days remaining for GST to be implemented, and services sector has raised the red flag, saying that there are many challenges before them. So for GST network, what has been provided for is that fresh applications have not been started to be accepted yet. Fresh applications for registration. So only those who are seeking migration from current regime to GST regime are being accepted. Requests for of those have been accepted to be registered on GST network. So then a GST IN, that is goods and services tax identification number, is provided, and this is a state level number. And for services sector, what happens is that services are provided across various states. So then they have multiple offices across India, but then there will not be one service registration number, but there will be one for every state. They'll require a registration. So this is a situation before them, and they have not been able to have fresh registrations because GST network has not initiated that process. So this is a concern raised. But then GST Suvidha providers also, they are saying that this is not a big issue, because fresh applications, government has said that fresh applications also will be started to be accepted, but it has not started yet. But still there are 15 days, and GST Suvidha providers say that this is not a big problem. Once it is started, it can be quickly done. It does not take time. And even if it is not done, what will happen? The only problem which will happen is that these service providers will have to give invoices without the GSTI. And that can be provided for later when the actually taxation is to be done. So this is the case, and it's a one-time scenario. So this thing is pointed out. So this is regarding GST. One nation, one market. So these are all the taxes which will be subsumed under GST, and these are the benefits listed out because of GST implementation. Then this is regarding the GST network too, which we have seen earlier too. The stake which is there, various stakeholders under GST network are, this is 24.5% with center, 24.5% with states, and remaining 10%, 11% is with LIC housing. So these you can see are the entities which have the remaining 10% stake. These are LIC, IDBI, ICICI Bank, HDFC Bank, and NSE. So this is the GST network which will provide for the back-end services to tax departments of central and state governments. And the filing will also be done. The front end will be used by the tax filers under GST 2. Then next is CCI fines Hyundai rupees 87 crore. So this is Competition Commission of India has imposed a penalty of 87 crore on Hyundai Motors India Limited. And the reason for this penalty is anti-competitive conduct. And the allegation is that it has gone against the provisions of Competition Act of 2002 because it had made an arrangement with dealers which resulted into resale price maintenance. So what is this resale price maintenance? Is that the price at which the distributors would sell these cars has to be fixed. That is a limit, particular threshold which is fixed, that you should not sell it at a lower price. Maximum, at least the least price which you can sell it at is this. So a threshold is set, or even minimum maximum limit which is set. So this is called resale price maintenance. So here it is alleged that Hyundai Motors had this provision of resale price maintenance with its dealers, and it had imposed this discount control mechanism. So these dealers were only permitted to provide a maximum permissible discount, and dealers were not authorized to give discount which is above this recommended range. Also, it had mandated its dealers to use recommended lubricant oils and penalize them for using non-recommended lubricants and oils. So such decisions have been called anti-competitive, and this penalty has been imposed on Hyundai. So this is regarding the Competition Act and Competition Commission of India too. So the Competition Act is what has established this Competition Commission of India, but then it was fully constituted later after an amendment, and it has come into full operation since 2009. So this is regarding the regulatory body here, CCI. Then next is not for insolvency bill for financial entities. So the Union Cabinet has approved the introduction of this new bill in Parliament. This is called Financial Resolution and Deposit Insurance Bill 2017. So this will provide for resolution of bankruptcy cases affecting financial sector entities like banks and insurance companies. So when there is a bankruptcy in them, how this should be resolved. So presently we have been seeing about insolvency and bankruptcy code. So this insolvency and bankruptcy code is for insolvency resolution of non-financial entities. So for financial and insurance companies also, this bill will make provision. So there will be a resolution corporation which would be set up, and this would also provide for repealing or amending several resolution related provisions which are already there in various acts. There is already a Deposit Insurance and Credit Guarantee Corporation Act of 1961. So all these will be repealed, and this bill will establish this corporation. So then the time and cost of resolving distressed financial entities will also be reduced, and that will complement the insurance and bankruptcy code. So this is a initiation of bill which has been introduced now. Then next is RBI imposes curbs on central bank. So RBI has put state public sector bank. So RBI has put the public sector bank, Central Bank of India, under prompt corrective action. What is this prompt corrective action? You should know. A revised framework for prompt corrective action was released recently by RBI, and it has already imposed restrictions under this over 3 banks. IDBI Bank, Dena Bank and UCO Bank have already come under prompt corrective action, and now Central Bank of India has also been put under prompt corrective action. The reason for this being that it has breached the threshold for non-performing assets. So second threshold, this threshold which is there of 9% has also been breached, because its net non-performing asset ratio of Central Bank of India is now 10.2% by end of March 2017. So what is this prompt corrective action and what steps are taken, we'll see. So this is the gist of it provided here. So prompt corrective action, there are 3 risk thresholds which have been provided for by the RBI. So this one, you can see net NPA ratio, how would it be if it's between 6 to 9%. It's not going up to 9%, then it is risk threshold 1. So risk threshold 2 is when net non-performing assets are 9% or above but less than 12%. And risk threshold 3 is 12% or above ratio of net non-performing assets. So this is one of the ways in which risk thresholds are defined. There are other provisions also you can see. So when these risks thresholds are breached, then there are corrective actions which need to be taken. So these, for each of them you can see. So there are restrictions on dividends first of all. Then also discretionary action by regulator, means by RBI can be taken in each of the 3 cases, but minimum essential, then there will be restrictions on dividends. For risk threshold 2, there will be restrictions on branch expansion 2. They'll have to make higher provisions. Higher provisions will they have to put in more capital as a safeguard as against the loans which they have provided. So higher provisioning of loans need to be taken. And risk threshold 3, when this is breached, then also there are restrictions on management compensation, the pay provided to them. On director fee also restrictions can be imposed. So these are the corrective actions that need to be taken. The next is India aims to lift doing business ranking. So this doing business report is brought out every year by World Bank, and in its doing business report, which was released in 2016 also, India ranked 130 out of 190 countries. So this is the detail given here, you can see. So World Bank report. So for 2017 the ranking was 130. So now another report will come up in September 2017. So in this, India wants to improve its ranking drastically, and this ranking is provided for based on these 10 parameters. So out of these 10 parameters, 2 specifically in which our ranking is very low are being targeted to improve our ranking, and these 2 parameters which are being dealt with are starting a business and dealing with construction permits. So you can see this starting a business and dealing with construction permits. So here these 2 rankings are proposed to be increased, and for this government has taken steps. So the steps taken by the government here are mentioned, you can see. So this, it will means how is starting a business also for this, how is the World Bank going to, how this parameter is used is it sees the time to start or operate a limited liability company in Mumbai and Delhi. So these are the 2 cities which are indicator cities used by World Bank. So this means what are the procedures needed before, during and after registration, which has to be looked into. So now the government has made provision that this has been brought down. The number of days needed to start or operate a company has been brought down from 26 days, which was there last year, to now just 1 day. So in 1 day you can start operate a limited liability company in Mumbai, Delhi. So this is a step taken by the government. Also, it has provided for this SPICE, simplified pro forma for incorporating a company electronically. So this is now the only default application for incorporation of companies, and government says that this is in its response to the World Bank Group, that how we have made changes to improve our ranking for starting a business too. So this is one thing, and then dealing with construction permits also, it has made changes. So it's expected that the World Bank improves our ranking on these grounds, but that will depend on the visit. The World Bank team is going to be on a 3-week visit to India from June 26, and it's going to assess the company's performance, and this will then reflect in the new ranking which will come forth in October 2017. So we'll have to wait and watch what happens. Then the next, cattle slaughter crackdown ripples through leather sector. So this cattle slaughter restrictions which have been imposed by the government presently. So this is imposed banning of animal slaughter of not just of cow, which is a revered animal, but also of buffalo. And buffalo is an important animal which is used for leather as well as for meat. So even after BJP government was formed in UP, immediately unlicensed abattoirs were brought down, they were closed, and this has affected the meat industry here too. So this is what goes against the government's intention. The government has targeted that leather revenues should increase to $27 billion. That is more than double by 2020. So this is part of the job creation push. But then we are seeing that people are losing their jobs because the leather industry is also suffering because of these restrictions imposed now. So this goes contradictory to the plan or the target which the government, central government, has placed for leather industry. Then next is engineering exports to Doha hit by Qatar crisis. So after Qatar has been isolated by these West Asian countries led by Saudi Arabia, Indian engineering exports to Qatar are also been affected. The shipping lines operating between India and Doha, the capital of Qatar, are keeping the containers on hold now. So this has been mentioned here. Engineering exports account for 13% of India's total engineering exports to West Asia. So here you can see this is the Qatar nation here, and the reason being given, or which is understood by Qatar is being targeted, is because of its support to Iran. So Qatar and Iran also share this region, the Persian Gulf. Here you can see this is the Gulf of Oman, this is Strait of Hormuz. So you should know, and India lies just across here. So we have more than 90% of our natural gas resources are also provided through Qatar. So that is why it's an important nation for us. Here you can see Strait of Hormuz is also shown. Then the last news item is what's up with Bosphorus. So first you should know where is this Bosphorus Strait. So a strait is a narrow strip of water body, like this Strait of Hormuz also. It's a narrow strip of water body which connects 2 larger water bodies. So Persian Gulf and Gulf of Oman are connected through Strait of Hormuz. So the 2 land masses would be divided and 2 water bodies would be connected. It's a narrow strip here. So same with the Strait of Bosphorus Strait here is located in Turkey. So this is Turkey, the nation, and this Bosphorus Strait actually divides Asia and Europe. So this is Asian part of Turkey and this is European part of Turkey. So that way, this is the Sea of Marmara and Black Sea, the two water bodies which are connected through this strait, Bosphorus Strait. So the news presently is that in Bosphorus Strait, the change in the color of the water here is being seen, and people were worried that is it because of pollution. But then the scientists here and also NASA details data which has been provided through its satellite, Terra satellite, shows that this is because of increase in the population of a species of plankton across the Black Sea. So that is why the color here and even a smell is being felt in this water. So here this is the microorganism known as EHUX. So this organism is good source of plankton also for the fish. So it is good for the population is also highlighted. So this is there. So these are the news items. Thank you.